Hello everyone, thanks for joining us today and welcome to the Specialist Trading educational presentation of my triple threat of trading. Now a lot of times people think, well, it takes more than one method or strategy or technique to help you. Well, here we're going to actually offer you 3 different ways to succeed and to be a more consistent trader. For example, let's take a look at this chart here, an ROST. When the markets are going up, everyone has a very simple time and an easy way of making money. But as you can see here, in an uptrend, you want to be long. But when things change, that's where the strategies or the methods go out the window. So in a downtrend, that's where you want to be short or at least out of the market. Well, with these 3 methods or our triple threat, we're going to share with you how you could be getting long well before the uptrend. And then once the trend has changed, you can be getting out, or else you can actually be going short in sync with the market direction. And you're going to see how simple it is to apply this triple threat on our platform, the PTS Primo charting platform. I designed this with Pro Trader Strategies to make trading simple. So welcome once again. My name is Steven Primo, President and Founder of Specialist Trading. I teamed up with Pro Trader Strategies about 10 years ago with simply one goal, and that was to teach traders how to trade. Because most traders, I think, they assume that they've been taught or they know enough, but sadly, the estimates say that roughly 85% of all traders fail. And so basically the things that you're using, either, some traditional wisdom of trading, such as, moving averages, let's say institutionals, see what the institutionals are trading, or looking at overbought, oversold tools, those things really don't hold very high levels of consistency. And I can say that because I've been trading 42 going on 43 years now. I've traded just about everything under the sun you can imagine. If it's around, trust me, I've traded it before. It's just been rebranded with a different name. So in my 42 years, I know what works in terms of consistency, and I know what doesn't work. I started my career on the floor of the stock exchange, the Pacific Stock Exchange, where I made markets in roughly about 50 or 60 stocks. A person who made markets was called a specialist, because you specialized in buying or selling about 50 or 60 different stocks. So in that 16 years I was on the floor, I've seen and traded just about everything. I've traded straight up, straight down markets, sideways markets, volatile markets, just about every system or technique you can think of. So once again, I know what works in terms of consistency and I know what doesn't. So what we provide is sound fundamental education that has stood the test of time. This way you don't have to take roughly 42 years to try and discover it. You can find out in either a matter of months or even days, if you'd like, to be taught some really highly consistent methods. And this is what we do at Specialist Trading and Pro Trader Strategies. And you'll see that today with the 3 different methods and techniques I'm going to be sharing with you. But before we begin today's educational presentation, we are required to show you this, so please take a moment to view our disclaimer. I'm going to show you a lot of performance results using our triple threat of trading, but please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the results I'm about to share with you will be repeated in the future. And also please remember that all examples are strictly for educational purposes only. So once again, we are strictly an educational company, and one of the ways in which we educate you is by posting different educational information on our Twitter page. So feel free to follow us on Twitter. There's lots of great free information on a daily basis, anywhere from signals our strategies have generated to little bits of financial wisdom that I post on a daily basis. So feel free to follow us on Twitter. Now, I know a lot of times students of mine will say, well, Steve, I guess I'll check out your educational presentation, but are you going to talk about what the best market is to trade, or are you going to talk about the best time frame, or the only strategy I should be trading? If you've come to this presentation thinking that that's what I'm going to talk about, you've come to the wrong place, because that's not what we do. Once again, our goal is to teach you how to trade, not to tell you what the perfect market is, or what the hot new market is, or what the hot time frame you should be trading. We don't believe in that. Those are things that are akin to each individual trader, and you've got to find out what those perfect markets or time frames are. But we supply you with strategies, techniques, different methods to trade in each and every one of these different time frames or markets. So it really makes no difference. What makes a difference is that you are a part of the process. So as you can see here, my goal is not to force feed you some system, it's not to force feed you signals on a nightly basis. My goal is simply to teach you how to trade with a specialist edge. Because what we want to do is sustain you so that you can be trading 20, 30, 40 years down the road. Not, a couple of days or a couple of months until you have a very large loss and then you're out of the game altogether. So this is what we do with specialist trading and pro trader strategies. The same way I teach my students around the world, it's the same way I was taught, and hopefully it will be able to sustain you for 43 years, going on 43 years. Now, since this is going to be a class, I want to take each and every one of your questions, but if we stop for every slide, I have a lot of slides to share with you today, since we're covering 3 methods. I don't want to stop for every slide because we'll be here far too long. I don't want to take all of your Wednesday up. So if you have a question, please wait till the very end of class to ask them. I promise I'll get to each and every one of them at the very end. The only one I will answer, and that is the most common, is this being recorded? Yes, it is. So if you have to leave early, or if you're having technical issues with your computer or so, we will send each and every one of you a link to this recording, okay? So please wait till the end to ask any questions. Excuse me. All right, with that stated, let's begin today's educational presentation. So we're going to be talking about 3 different threats, which are our most consistent as well as our most powerful strategies, but they're all very simple to apply. So let's start out with threat number 1. Now, you've heard me speak about this before. This is strategy number 4. This was the very first strategy I was taught by my mentors when I was struggling some 42 years ago on the floor of the exchange. Let me share with you some of the highlights of this particular method. It's designed for traders looking to catch momentum. Now, it does this by applying a unique pattern recognition method. Now, we're looking for a specific pattern that appears over and over and over again. Now, this doesn't matter if you're trading intraday bars. It doesn't matter if you're trading Bitcoin. It makes no difference if you're trading currency pairs or monthly bars of a stock. You'll see this pattern reoccurring over and over again. The beauty of this pattern is that it's fairly simple and it only uses one indicator. And I'll share with you what that indicator is. It's a 50-period simple moving average. This simply tells us whether we're going to be buying or selling as prices in relation to that. Let me share with you some examples of this strategy. As you can see, where most people would think we're in a downtrend, strategy number 4 generated a buy signal prior to a very nice upward move. It works the same here as we saw in Apple, this older chart of Apple. Apple had been rising. We had one sharply down day. That was enough for this pattern to take place and all the requirements to be met. And as you can see, Apple had a very strong move to the downside. And you can get double signals, as we did here in this older chart of GM, I believe. Yes, GM. You see we had a signal here, then another signal here, and then it was off to the races, to the upside. So this is a very consistent method. It's very simple to apply. We teach you all the rules. Remember, there's only one indicator, and that is where is price in relation to this indicator. Now, one of the other rules I will share with you is that buy signals will be generated when a price bar is closing in the top portion of its range. As you can see here, both of these bars close in the top portion of the range. So you'll never get a buy signal when we close in the middle, and you'll never get a buy signal when we close towards the bottom, because this is the market telling you it's most likely going to continue in that direction. All right, let's go on to threat number 2. This is an entirely different method based on entirely different parameters. This is strategy number 5. Now, this is a non-traditional candlestick formula. It's based on non-traditional candlestick methods, okay? And the beauty of this is that it can be applied to virtually all candlestick patterns. It's been my opinion that most traders trade candlesticks, myself included when I first started, incorrectly. All right. Now, once again, this is a very simple process to apply. It only uses one indicator as well. That's the 50-period simple moving average. Let me show you how simple it is to spot these setups. Here's an older setup in letter O. As you can see, we have a buy signal generated here and then a very strong trend to the upside. Now, the beauty of strategy number 5 is if you get enough or a strong enough trend, you will see more and more signals generated the entire way up. So that's the nice thing about this, okay? So if you happen to miss one and the trend continues very strongly, you'll get more signals all the way up. As we see here, here is a downward signal in CTL. It doesn't look like much is happening after the signal was generated. It took about 4 or 5 bars to kick in, but ultimately you had a very nice strong move to the downside. And once again, if you missed that very first setup, there are more signals generated along the way. Here's a double signal in Facebook, all right? An older signal in Facebook going back some months. And as you can see, a very strong upward move, more signals generated all the way up. Now, while losses may be inevitable, because we all know that losses are just part of the game, there is still a way to filter many of them out, which brings us to our third threat. Okay, as we can see here in ZTS, here is a strategy number 5 buy signal. All right, and this one didn't work at all. In fact, it went the opposite direction. Here's another setup, strategy number 4, a setup to go short. We're closing in the very bottom of the range. It met all of the requirements, but then look what happened. It went right back up. So once again, threat number 3 is a way to alleviate some of these inconsistent setups, and that's by using the PET-D. You've heard about me speak this before. It's one of our most powerful tools we have at Specialist Trading, and I was introduced to it, and I use it on a daily basis with my personal trading. So what exactly is the PET-D for those of you who aren't familiar? Well, it's got many uses, but first of all, it's a proprietary algorithm. That means we're keeping the rules and the requirements in-house because it's a formula that needs to be calculated on virtually a tick-by-tick basis. And we want to take that work out of it for you. We don't want you to have to sit there, especially if you're an intraday trader, and on a tick-by-tick basis be calculating this proprietary algorithm. Now, we can use it as a short-term trend identifier because that's really its most basic use. It is the best thing I know of for identifying the short-term trend. And it does this by applying the color bar rule. In other words, we've made it into a color bar tool that if you see a series of green bars, you're in an uptrend, and a series of red bars, you're in a downtrend. So the color bar tool is what takes all of the hard work out of it for you. Our platform, the PTS Primo charting platform, automatically colors the bars either green or red. So as we look at this chart right here in AET, we see that, well, sure, looking back in hindsight, we know that we're in an uptrend. So at this point, you probably say, well, you know what, I'm going to buy here because we're most likely going up. And the minute you get long, look what happens, right? What if there were a way to have us getting in a lot earlier and have us getting out a lot earlier? Not that we're going to try and pick a top or bottom, but just get an early warning. Well, all you have to do is apply the PET-D. You see here on our platform, you just simply click on PET-D and the colors automatically change. A series of green bars means you're in an uptrend. A series of red bars means you're in a downtrend. And look how we knew well in advance that we were in an uptrend well back before most people would, have any type of an uptrend signal like way up here. And then how most people would be saying, boy, this is not working and get out. Well, we knew well in advance that we had a series of red bars telling us we were going lower. So how can we use this in our favor for the triple threat? Well, we apply it as a signal confirmation tool. This is the triple threat of trading when you apply the PET-D this way. So here's how we apply it. If you get a buy signal with either strategy 4 or strategy number 5, that bar that is in top of the up green arrow, that bar should be colored green. Now we don't care what all the bars prior to that were, just that one bar should be colored green. Now conversely, if strategy 4 or 5 generate a sell signal, that bar that is below the down red arrow should be colored red. Now sure, if all the bars are red, that's fine, but all we care about is that one bar that is below the down red arrow, okay? Let me show you what I mean here. And this is how it can really help us, okay? Because many times some of the best trades are the ones you don't take. Now if we look at that older chart in ZTS, we see here that strategy 5 generated a buy signal. All the requirements were met for the strategy, but obviously it didn't work out. What if we had applied the triple threat, the third part? Well, we would have seen here that this bar was outlined red. Remember, in order for us to take this and to be a valid strategy number 5 buy signal, we would have had to color this bar, outline it green. And since it wasn't, we never took the trade. Same thing goes for this example in letter M. This was a strategy number 4 sell signal. Okay, it met all the requirements. It closed in the bottom portion of its range. So how come it didn't work out? Well, sometimes they don't. Remember, nothing works 100% of the time. Sells or buys that don't work out, that are losing trades, are inevitable. But we can help filter out some of these by applying the PET-D. So if we get a valid sell signal, then in order for us to take it, that bar needs to be colored red. So what color did the PET-D change it to? All you have to do is click on PET-D on our platform, and we see here that that bar was colored green. So therefore, we were not going to take this sell signal. We filtered it out, and we didn't lose anything. So this is the beauty of applying all 3 of these different techniques. Is when we combine these 3 methods, that's when we get our specialist trading triple threat of trading, because we have 3 things that have a synergy, when combined together, can really increase our odds for consistency. All right, so let's look at some more examples using strategy number 4, strategy number 5, along with the PET-D. All of these things constitute our triple threat for consistency. All right, we see here in this example, we have 2 buy signals. This triangle arrow is a strategy number 5 buy signal, and this regular arrow is a strategy number 4 buy signal. Now, nothing much has happened, but we haven't gone down that much. We've basically gone sideways. Ultimately, we apply the PET-D. All you have to do is click on the PET-D here, and it automatically changes the colors, and we see that both of these bars were green. All right, remember, it does not matter what the prior bars or what the intermediate bars were. All that matters is that the bar above the arrow is outlined colored green. So that gives us confidence to stay in the trade, and ultimately the stock went up 9 points. In fact, it gapped up here off some very positive news that we had no idea about, but that the PET-D, along with these strategies, was able to interpret simply by looking at a few basic rules and by listening to the market with a trend identifier. How about KLAC? All right. Well, this stock looks like it's going downward. In fact, we have a doji up here signaling the top, and we should be going lower, but we had 2 buy signals. So you're saying to yourself, well, I'm not sure if I want to take these signals, but how can I get some more added confidence? Well, remember, we can't guarantee 100% that we're going to filter out all the losing trades, but we can increase our odds for consistency by adding the PET-D. And once we do, we see that not only are these bars colored green, but all of the bars are green. So this is a good sign, okay? So it gives us the confidence to take these trades, and ultimately we could have gained 16 points potentially. It depends on where you wanted to get out, and we teach you our different ways of where to get out in the strategy courses. But potentially, if you wanted to stay in long enough, you could have captured 16 points in the next week or two. Let's look at a sell signal. Here's a strategy number 4, sell signal. And someone say, how can you go short? Because we're going up, a short-term uptrend, and after you sold, it's going higher. So this looks like it's not going to be a very good signal. So why would you have taken this? Well, to give you a little bit of added confidence, you would have added the PET-D. Simply click on the PET-D, and in order for us to take this strategy signal, we would have had to seen this colored red. So let's see what it colored it. Yes, it colored the bar red. Now, even though the bar prior to it and the bar after it are outlined green, it makes absolutely no difference, okay? Remember, a green or a red bar does not in any way have something to do with where the bar closed. That's, for some reason, the traditional way that people use candlesticks in the West. We don't use it that way. We use halo bars, as we see here. Now, this is an up day, but look at the outline. It's colored red. So what the PET-D is telling us is that this is an up day in a short-term downward trend. Now, on this day, the trend had changed to upwards. But then on this day, the trend had changed down again and then up again. So this is why we say we've taken the hard work out of calculating this for you, because you don't want to sit there and calculate the up and down swings of the market. All you care about is the color of the bar after there has been a signal. And so we have everything lined up for a triple threat setup. And as you can see, 12 points going down the line. All right, let's look at IRBT. All right, this was just a couple of months ago. Someone would say, well, Steve, we have 2 signals here, and basically it looks as if the market's doing nothing. All right, well, how could these signals along with the PET-D have helped us? We have a strategy number 5 buy signal, and nothing much has happened, and then we have a strategy number 5 sell signal. So which one do we take? Do we take both of them? Do we take only one? Well, we apply the PET-D, and in order for us to take this, it would have to be an outlined green, which it was. So you would have taken this signal and most likely been stopped out here for about a 2 or 3 point loss. But here is the beauty of our strategies. They are very consistent. So even if you have a loss on one, they have a high probability of making up that loss on the next trade. So had you taken the very next trade, well, guess what? 20 points to the downside. This is a more aggressive entry, but if you had used the aggressive entry, you could have potentially captured 20 points. You could have made back that 2 or 3 point loss on the first trade and potentially captured 20 points with that. All right, so do you see what we mean by consistency? Consistency does not mean that every trade is going to be a winner. Consistency means that you are aware you will have losses from time to time, but that you will be most likely be able to recoup those losses with a consistent method, sometimes on the very next trade, as you see right here. All right, another example in MANH. Once again, someone looking at this will say, Steve, how can you even trade this? All right, we're going sideways. This is basically resistance right here. All right, these are the institutions selling. I don't want to go against the institutions according to that $10,000 course I took. So I don't want to trade anything here. And if I'm going to do anything, I'm going to sell, right? All right. Does this sound the way you make your trading decisions? It sounds the way I used to make mine until my mentors taught me not to listen to these outside sources because they don't hold any level of consistency. What holds a level of consistency is listening to the market, not to an outside source such as some convoluted indicator or so what the institutions or what some trading guru is telling you, but what is the market telling you? All of our strategies and our techniques and tools are based off what the market is telling us. And so the market was telling us that there's a strategy number 5, buy signal. All right, so we want to take that, but the market is going sideways. We're a little doubtful. So in order to get a little bit more confidence, we apply the PET-D. And guess what? All of the bars are green, but all we need is for this bar to be colored green, the bar above the arrow. That gives us the confidence to take the trade. We don't care what the institutions are doing. We don't care what some guru is telling you in a chat room. What is the market telling you? The market's telling you it wants to go higher, and this is a high probability trade. So had you taken this setup, guess what? In the next week, you could have potentially captured 18 points. Now, here's an example in WEC. This is going back from May up until the beginning of September, just last month. Look at all the strategy number 5 buy signals that were generated. Remember, we told you if you have a strong enough trend, strategy number 5 likes to generate lots and lots of signals all the way up, okay? Now, how could we have taken these setups? Well, you could have taken them alone just on face value, but in order to take them with a little bit more confidence, all you have to do is apply the PET-D and see that each and every one of these signals had a green colored bar by the PET-D above it. So this is the beauty of the PET-D. The PET-D will confirm these, and you could potentially, had you taken this very first setup, captured upwards of 18 points. Now here's a great example of filtering out some trades and keeping some others. As we look in DPC, it looks as if the market once again is in a sideways mode. Why would you take any one of these signals? Well, it's up to you. This is not a system. It's not required that you take every signal. But if you apply the PET-D, you see here that we have some bars red, we have one bar green and one bar red. So this means you're not going to take this setup. But you could have taken any other of these 3, and that would have been a great idea because ultimately it dropped 30 points just about one day. As we look here at SXT, we see here that we have a buy signal generated, but someone could say, well, gosh, there's not really enough information here. This is a couple of months ago, and the earnings are supposed to be good, so I want to take this, but I better check with the PET-D. All you have to do is apply the PET-D, and guess what? This one didn't work. So how could the PET-D have helped us? Well, the PET-D colored this bar red. So the PET-D was telling us this is not a high probability trade. Most likely you should not take this trade because guess what? The odds are telling you that it most likely won't work. And you see how the PET-D would have kept us out of this and we would not have lost this amount on the trade. Another example here in PM, okay? How could the PET-D have helped us? Because if you had just simply gone short, that would have obviously been a losing trade. Had you applied the PET-D, you would have seen here that the color of the bar was green. In order for us to take this trade, according to the triple threat, this is a strategy number 4 sell signal, we would have had to seen a red bar. And the PET-D, which is probably the best tool I know for translating what the market wants to do, did not confirm it. So you would not have taken this trade and not have lost a large amount here. Let's look at MKTX. As we can see, we have a nice upward trend, and then we have a buy signal. This is where a lot of students have trouble. They say, well, how can I buy if we're going higher? I'm always taught that we're supposed to buy low and sell high. Well, that's not really the way it works. Well, I was taught to buy high and sell higher because you want to buy within the trend. And if the trend is going up, none of us knows how high a trend is going to last. We don't know how high it will go or how low something will go. So it's best just to jump on board in sync with the trend. Now we have a strategy number 5 buy signal here. In order to give us an added level of confidence, we apply the PET-D, and guess what? It's outlined green. So this will give us the confidence to buy towards the very high of this range, and that was a wise decision because we can continue to go up another 30 points. So you could have potentially captured 30 more points. Now, lastly, AYI. We see here that we have a sideways market. This was just last week. A sideways market, but a sell signal generated, a strategy number 5 sell signal. Someone could say, how can you go short in a range market? You know, I could have gone short here and look what happened, go right back up. So why is this one going to be working more? Well, because it's colored red by the PET-D, and this wasn't a valid signal. So there's no signal right here. But this was a valid signal according to the strategy. And then if you apply the PET-D, the third category in the triple threat, you have the added confidence to take this trade. This was just last Monday, I believe, on the 1st or Tuesday, a 25-point drop. Now, this was an aggressive way to enter. We have about 6 different ways to enter, but if you have entered this aggressively, you would have potentially been able to capture 25 points in one day. All right, so let's recap what we went over, and then we'll go over into the question and answer portion of this presentation. Remember, strategy number 4 is our most consistent strategy today. It was the very first strategy I traded when I was learning how to trade from my mentors, and I continue to trade it on a daily basis. It's a really great pattern recognition strategy. Now, the second part of the triple threat is strategy number 5. This is a non-traditional candlestick method. It takes candlestick trading in an entirely different direction, okay? The beauty of this is if you get a strong trend, you'll see lots of strategy number 5 signals generated in the direction of that trend. But remember, there will be losses in both of these strategies because nothing works 100% of the time. I often state in my webinars, if you go to a chat room, if you go to a webinar and someone says this never fails, this has only lost once in the last 10 years, this technique or this method, I would run. Because I've been trading for 43 years and I lose just about once every 3 or 4 trades. There's nothing wrong with that. What you want is not a method that doesn't lose. What you want is a method that's consistent, that's able to recoup those losses. In fact, perfect example, a couple of days ago, I had a short sale on the market, a short setup using strategy number 4 on, I believe, daily bars or a higher time frame. And I shorted and the market went up the next day. I got stopped out with a loss. Now, the very next day, the strategy generated another signal for me. So I went short again. And with the action yesterday, where the market went down, I not only recouped my losses from that first trade, but I made more money on the second trade. This is what we mean by consistency. So there's nothing wrong with losses. They will occur. What we want to do is be able to recoup those losses, and we also want to be able to filter out as many as possible. So how can we filter them out? Well, this is the third category of our triple threat, by applying the PET-D. The PET-D is probably the best filter I know because it really tells you the trend on a short-term basis. And more than anything else, it's a translator. It translates what the market wants to do on a tick-by-tick basis. So even though all the requirements of these strategies may be met, the PET-D may not confirm it because it's translating that the market wants to go in the opposite direction, okay? So this is really a great way to trade. When you combine all 3 of these, you have a synergy for success. You have what we call our triple threat of trading. Now, I want you to ask yourself, and ask yourself honestly before you ask me any questions, do you think these 3 methods could have helped your trading or could help your trading for the remainder of the year? You know, we only have a couple of months really left. Do you think going forward they could really kick your trading into overdrive? Well, we have a great attendee discount for all the people attending today. We're going to offer you our triple threat. This is Primo strategy number 4, number 5, and along with the PET-D tool. You're going to get instant course access, detailed instruction. You're going to get all the entire course rules. We have upwards of 6 or 7 different entries, 6 or 7 different exit points, and 6 or 7 different stop placements so that you can decide how you want to trade. All right. We also supply you with a signal scanner. You have 4 different PET-D trading techniques. This comes in addition with the strategy, okay? 4 different ways to apply a technique just using the PET-D. Now, this includes all the add-ons. So if you like to trade, let's say, with Metastock or MT4 or TradeStation and NinjaTrader, we'll give you the add-ons that will automatically generate the up and down arrows for the strategies as well as color the bars for the PET-D. Now, this is our triple threat special. Now, included with that, we're going to also offer you 12 months of the PTS Primo charting platform. Now, we know that you may have your platform of choice, and that's probably where you trade and enter your orders, but this is an educational platform that makes it so easy to apply these strategies because everything is one click away. Now, we're not just going to give you our triple threat with the platform. We're also going to throw in our PET-D directional tool included with a proprietary buy-sell line, included with the strategy signal scanner, Bloomberg TV, and personalized tech support. Now with the scanner, you can also scan other markets. So even though we showed all these examples with stocks, I know many of you trade E-mini futures, you trade currency pairs, you trade commodities, you trade Bitcoin. We have data for all of these different markets. We have data for the Toronto Exchange, for the DAX Exchange, for European markets. So let's say you want to scan any of those or even different time frames. As we look here, here's a scan of the British pound. You could have scanned and seen that, well, first of all, we have the PET-D applied. And then you could have seen that there was a strategy number 4, sell signal. So you have here a triple threat with strategy number 4. It's confirmed, 390 pips in the next couple of weeks, okay? Close to $4,000 per unit. Or a 4-hour chart of the Swiss franc, all right? The market's going up. You apply the PET-D, and you see that the PET-D says that we're now in a short-term uptrend. You scan, and you see that there's a strategy number 5, buy signal. Well, it's confirmed, 95 pips going into the next 2 or 3 weeks, and another signal was generated as well. What if you're an intermediate or intraday trader, I should say? Here's an example of the E-mini futures, a 10-minute chart. We have all the bars colored red now with the PET-D. You scan and you see that there's a strategy number 5, sell signal. It gives you the confidence to take it. 20 points, that's $1,000 per contract. And here was another sell signal generated if you missed the first one. So the 12 months of our platform where you can scan and use all these different tools as well as apply the triple threat usually costs close to $1,800. We're not going to charge you that. We're going to discount it tremendously. In fact, we're discounting it down to 0. We're going to throw in 12 months of our platform absolutely free. But we're not going to stop there. Let's break down our triple threat. That's strategy number 4. That's the candlestick strategy number 5 and our early trend detector. Now, strategy number 4, which is really just not a stock strategy. When we first introduced it, we were introducing it for stocks, so don't get fooled by the graphic here. It can be applied to any market, any time frame. That usually runs close to $700. Now, the candlestick strategy runs close to $700 as well, and the PET-D early trend tool runs close to $3,000. Here's what we're going to do. Now, including, if we had added all these up together, we would be talking about close to $4,400. And if we included the 12 months of the platform, we're talking about $6,100, $6,200. All right, so that's a lot. We don't expect that from you at all. So here's what we're going to do. We're not going to charge you that at all. We're not going to charge you for the strategies. The only thing we're going to apply here is the $29.95 for the PET-D. And that includes, once again, the full year of the platform. That's a 50% discount. Now, guess what? We're also going to include payment plans. We're also going to have payment plans for this. So if you can't come up with $29.95, that's okay. You can contact Pro Trader Strategies, put down a small deposit, and you can still be up and running with our triple threat. But this is good for 1 day only. So you have to contact them. Remember, we are nearly at the end of 2019. Are you going to wait another year to become a consistent trader? These 3 tools really have a high level of consistency. So we want to make you a member of our triple threat special course. Okay, remember, you're going to get instant course access. All of these things here required along with our scanner, along with the PET-D trading techniques, and that includes 1 year of the platform free. And also, one thing I did not mention, you're going to get continuing educational correspondence with yours truly. You're going to get my personal email address. So if you ever have a question concerning our triple threat, you can always email me, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible, okay? Here's how to take advantage of this great, great offer. I put together and use all of our information along with Pro Trader Strategy. So they're in charge of all of our course tech support as well as our course discounts. If you want to structure a payment plan, I would most likely give them a call because you can do that and talk with them about structuring a plan that would work best for you. So there's absolutely no obligation. If you call them directly at area code 310-598-6677, they have qualified trading consultants on the phone right now. They would be happy to construct a payment plan for you. Or if you just want to make one lump sum, you can do that as well. They would be happy to take your order over the phone. Now that link you see at the bottom will take you to the sign-up page as well for the $29.95, or there's more information about this offer we have. But the one thing I want to state is that that link is not live. So if you go to the chat box on the far right go to webinar column there, you'll see that we have posted a live link. Now, I said at the very end, I would take any and all of your questions. So if you happen to have any right now, now's the time to ask. Just go to the question and answer box and type them in. And remember, there's absolutely no obligation for contacting Pro Trader Strategies. They would be happy to answer any question concerning discounts and pricing and structuring some type of a payment plan. Question, what platforms can we apply this to? Okay, just about all the major platforms, I'll go over them again: TradeStation, Metastock, MT4, NinjaTrader. Yes, you can apply this to Thinkorswim, but there's a few small edits you need to make, but we have a great tech support team that will put that together for you. Sierra Charts, I think I may have mentioned that, but just about all the major platforms, Metastock, MT4, all of those, yes, they're all included. So if you want to continue just to use your platform, that's fine. We will supply you with the add-on so you can just, download them onto your platform and they will be up and running. But remember, we constructed the platform and developed it to make trading simple. I use a different platform to enter my orders. So what I do is I get my signals off of Pro Trader Strategies. I do my research and my scanning off of that, and then I simply enter on the other platform. So I toggle back and forth. Many traders do that, and so there's nothing wrong with using two different platforms. And so if I do it, I know you can as well. So don't feel as if you're not comfortable using two. It's very simple, and you can just simply toggle back and forth. That's what most of our students do as well. Okay. Someone's asking, can this work on intraday currency pairs? Yes, it does. We have many students around the world. We have a lot of European students who only use our triple threat on intraday currency pair trading. So it makes no difference. I know that I showed a propensity for stocks on the presentation, but trust me, you can use this for currency pairs. You can use it for intraday e-mini trading. You can use it for Bitcoin, commodity trading. We have lots of different ways to trade this, and there's absolutely no restrictions on any market or time frame, okay? Someone was saying, what are some of the markets that we can scan for on your platform? Well, I don't have the list in front of me, but we have just so many of the major European markets, the DAX exchange. We also have all the major commodities you can scan for. If you like to trade commodities, we have all of the major currency pairs. We have the S&P 500, the NASDAQ markets, the Dow, the Russell 2000. I mean, just about any index you can think of. So I don't think there's any market that we don't cover. So if you're thinking of looking at different ways to scan, we have all that data for you. And we also teach you how to construct your own basket. Let's say you have 20 or 30 markets you like to look at on a nightly basis, and those are the only things you like to trade. Well, we tell you how you can make your own little basket of data there and just scan for those on a nightly basis. It's entirely up to you, but we make it simple, and everything is usually one click away. Okay, good questions. As we come to the conclusion, remember, if you have any more questions, do not hesitate to contact Pro Trader Strategies. Call them once again at 310-598-6677. There's absolutely no obligation. They would be more than happy to construct a payment plan with you. So there's no obligation. They can tell you more about discounts and about pricing and about tech support for the platform as well. As we conclude today's presentation, I just want to say thank you so much for attending, and I really want to be your mentor in our triple threat course. So please contact Pro Trader Strategies. And as you take one last look at our disclaimer, I look forward to all of you becoming students of mine in our triple threat course. Thank you so much for attending. I wish you the best of luck of trading, and I'll see you in class. Bye-bye.